everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello, welcome to part 2 of I Try to Write, my very first romance novella. It is officially June 22nd. Happy official summer. I inadvertently took a week off of writing this novella. So I'm back. It's great. Today is officially the Storyteller's Hearth stream, which is what I'm currently doing. We're on a sprint, taking a little bit of a break. I believe last vlog I ended with like 10,000 words roughly. I was halfway through the draft of my little queer holiday romance novella that I'm writing in an attempt to get published by Kobo because of their Canadian writing contest thing that they got going on. And if I don't win that contest, I will be publishing this anyways because it's going to be a sweet, soft, queer holiday novella. Why wouldn't I publish it anyways? Very fun and very exciting. Today I have been writing a whole bunch with the stream. I've definitely got over 1,100 words. And I am now sitting over 11,000 words in total in the draft. And I still have like 25 minutes left on the sprint. And there's gonna be one more sprint after this. So I feel like today is gonna just be a great word vomit day because I'm really in the mood. I have my specific Project Sourdough playlist on in my ears, which is a lot of like old croony Christmas music, and it's just hitting exactly the way I want it to. And maybe that break that I took, the inadvertent week break, was what I needed to do. Anyways, welcome to the vlog. This vlog, what am I intending on doing? I'm intending on finishing this draft before the end of June. And I would like to also send it to maybe a couple people to read if they have the time to read it in like a week before I get it back and start editing it myself, just to see if like the story makes sense, because I'll be so close to it that I need other people to look at it and tell me if it's good or not. Anyways, that's the plan, that's the goal. I'm gonna get back there after a bathroom break, but I thought I'd pop in and start this vlog, so welcome to it. Let us write this romance novella. Hello, beautiful friends. It is officially now the limbo hours between June 23rd and 24th. And I wanted to pop in with some updates about Project Sourdough. So we've officially hit 14,568 words. Today, when I sat down to do my writing, because yesterday I was doing, this is the day after that stream I was on. So yesterday I got 2,100 words down, which is awesome. And then today when I came to sit down, I noticed that my chapters were wonky because I had at some point yesterday, I do believe, I had decided, because one of my chapters was extremely beefy with words, I was like, oh, I'll just cut it in half and have 2 chapters in a row, not thinking that I have this laid out very evenly split as Margot Jack, Margot Jack, Margot Jack, Margot Jack, Margot, all the way through for like points of view. So splitting one of them, it was like Margot Jack, Margot Jack, Margot, Margot Jack, Margot Jack, Margot Jack, and I was like, that's not right. I fucked that up. So I had to like spend the first chunk of time here kind of like taking pieces of words and like throwing them up into other chapters, and then taking another chunk of a chapter and then changing the POV of it so that it like would match the POV chapter that was in. And we're back, we're fine. But like doing all that moving around has totally messed up today's like word count. I have not written 3,200 words, but Scrivener thinks I have because I've copy and pasted and put words in places. 14,000 words, which is fantastic because I, one, am coming to the end of this quite quickly, and 2, have just written up to the sexy scene that I had mapped out, specifically because my friend asked me to. And this is for Sophia. Hi, Sophia, I love you. This is for her having a sexy scene in my books because she's, you know, she's a romance girly, and this is for her at her heart. And low-key, like, it honestly, I'm not just putting it in to put it in. I should probably clarify that because I don't like when books do that. I don't like the egregious sex scenes just to have one. I'm like, what is this? It feels out of place. It does not feel out of place in here. I think what I did in the lead up works really well. And then when I go back and like do one pass through edit, when I go back and edit this, I'm gonna make sure that it like from the beginning, it's something that we can expect and it's not gonna jump scare people going in, because it's like, as long as there's no beating around the bush of any of that kind of conversation or anything like that, and it's very clear like from the beginning that there is an attraction between these two characters, I think that'll be better. But I think I did okay in writing this. As I said, I just did the lead up to it. So the lead up to it is a scene where Jack and Margot go outside. They go outside in the storm because Jack and Margot have just had these like moments of like deeper conversation, sort of. I think I'm gonna need to go back and like tweak the conversation a little bit just to make it a little bit more deep, just to like kind of see if I can poke that bear a little bit, because that's what happens in the middle of a blackout when you're with somebody. You find some goofy shit on some shelves, you read each other some stupid jokes, and you start getting into deep conversations in the middle of the night. It's not actually the middle of the night. It's actually kind of like early in the evening, but it's dark because it's winter. Hello, it's dark at 4 in the winter, right? At least it is here where I am. It's getting dark at 4 where I am in the dead of winter, which is so sad. God, even thinking about that. We're starting to get shorter days now because the solstice was on the 21st, and like having sunlight until 10 p.m. is so nice. Oh my God. Anyways, total side tangent. But yeah, so it's like, it's later, it's dark out, there's a storm, right? So it automatically kind of makes it this very isolated effect of kind of getting all of the weird thoughts out and like having deeper conversations, and then the weird tension of like, oh my God, I'm so close to this human being, like I could just lean over and kiss them if I wanted, like, whoa. And then Margot making an excuse and getting up, and then them going to the basement and trying to deal with something, because Margot also notices that some of the streetlights outside are on, which is weird in a blackout, because a blackout means no power. And then they go downstairs and the fuses are fine, like because they think, hey, maybe like we blew a fuse or something. They did not, because fun fact, sometimes streetlights can be on different parts of the board. You know what I mean? Like they can be on a separate situation for lights. I don't know. It's a thing. I remember driving home in a like rolling blackout once, and it was the creepiest thing I have ever undergone in my life, because there is something so like beginning of an apocalypse movie vibe of this, where you're driving, everything is lit up around you, all the businesses, it's dark out because it's nighttime. And then suddenly, as you're driving past like a car dealership lot, all of the lights in the car dealership lot go out, and then the street lights flicker, but then they come back on, and then the car dealership lights don't. It's terrifying. Everything went dark for a few seconds, and then the lights came back on, and then I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, you'll never believe, it's the wildest thing. And then the car dealership came back on because they're on generators there, I think. Or it was just like a really quick blackout. And he goes, yeah, no, like they're on a different, they can be, like the streetlights are sometimes on a different board, a switch thing. I don't know. It's 12:30 in the morning. I don't know the words for this, but you know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm just making that up, but that's what happens. And so like some of the streetlights around Margot and Jack are on because they're on a slightly different switchboard or whatever. But there's still a blackout. Like it's like only a couple streetlights that are still on. Or no, it's all the streetlights on their street are still on. But it's because of, maybe I'll change it to because they're a generator or something. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But yeah, so they go downstairs to check the fuse box. There's nothing, but then there's like this moment of like, we are literally in a basement. It's pitch black. All we have is a flashlight. It's cold and you are very close to me. And then they come back upstairs because they're just like, oh, trying to move away from the tension. And then they go outside because Jack is like, hey, there's kind of like a lull in the storm. Do you want to go outside and make a snowman? Because that'd be kind of fun. So they go outside and make a snowman, and they start making out in the snow. Anyways, I am having a great time with this, truly. And I asked my friends today if any of them would be open to reading this in like a week turnover time. I'm gonna need them to read it. Anyways, I think I'm gonna shine up the beginning of this chapter because I didn't really know how to start this chapter until I was like partway through it. So I jumped into a moment later. I started at the moment where Margot and Jack are like at the end of a snowball fight kind of a thing. Margot like runs and Jack chases her, and then Jack slips on the ice, just tackles Margot in the snow, and then they start making out. It's like that moment of a break. That's when everything changes, because why not? Why not? When you're outside, it's storming, you are currently being held by a beautiful woman, why not start making out with her, you know? With her consent, of course. That's just kind of how I've been working at it. So I think right now, I honestly could just keep going, but it is Sunday night, so I do have to work tomorrow. I probably could finish this tonight if I really tried, but I'm not going to do that to myself because then I would probably be up till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. again, and I don't really want to do that on a work night, even though that seems to be the trend. I'm excited to hand this off to my friends who, one, read more romance than I do, and two, have more, have more experience than I do in the romantic endeavors as someone who's never been in a relationship and who has only ever kissed one girl in her life. But, you know, I need to have someone who knows what they're doing read this part of the book, especially because I don't want it to feel fake or forced or weird in any moments. So I think I have it okay, but I have yet to actually write the actual sexy scene. We have just got to the lead up of it. And then because I got to the lead up of it and I'm like, I don't want to just meander my way through this. I want to have a map of what I'm gonna do. I wrote down a jot note of the sex scene, just like what's gonna happen, this beat, because I remember listening to a podcast writing about dragons and shit, of course, which is weirdly applicable at this moment. The fantasy writing podcast, weirdly applicable. This is the and shit part of it. They had someone on who was a romance smutty author who like specialized in writing these kinds of scenes. Everyone kind of came to the consensus of like, you should write your scenes like you should write your sex scenes kind of like you write your action scenes or your fight scenes, because you don't want to ever linger super long in them, in the nitty-gritty of it, the page after page after page of it, right? Because that's exhausting, and a lot of people will skim those parts, especially of a battle scene, right? So you kind of want it to be like, just do exactly like just the points that you want to do. You don't want to linger too far in it. Knowing that, I kind of needed to map it out almost like a fight scene, but not actually like a fight scene. This is not a fight scene at all. So I'm glad that I did, because I think I have the moments of like what I really definitely want to happen and then how we're going to phase out into the next scene. So, which is the second last chapter of the book. Potentially the last. No, it's not the last chapter, but yeah. And I think what I'm gonna do, because of the way that I did this, I mapped it out knowing that I'm not gonna have it all in this one chapter. It's gonna be split between the two POVs. So part of it is gonna be Margot, and then part of it is gonna be in Jack's chapter. So I'm excited to do it from both points of view. Love that for me. Anyways, I'm having a great time. But yeah, we are just under the minimum word count for this contest at the moment, which is great. I'm excited to see how long it ends up being, with another 2 and a bit chapters to go. And then comes having other people read it to tell me if it works, if there's any weirdness, if there's any scenes that don't make any sense, and then doing an edit myself, and then doing line edit and smooth edit, and to like keep the word count down as well. That's the update. I'm gonna get back and clean up the beginning of this chapter and just make sure things are kind of going where I want them to go. 'Tis this season. I've been having one song on repeat. I was looking around for my phone, which I film all these videos on. Fun fact. I was listening to Northern by Megan Dawes on repeat, because it was for that entire outdoor snowstorm scene. So I'm gonna put that back on, and I'm gonna polish up the top, and then I'm gonna call it here. But yeah, we're gonna be finishing this draft in the next couple days, which is very exciting. So what a time. What a time. It's 3 a.m. I 100% just ended up writing another chapter. And I have 1 chapter left to go. And I've hit 16,000 words. I have 1 chapter left and it's done. I got so caught up in the smut of it all. I've been sitting here since like 8:30 with my computer on my lap. I'm so close to the end of this fucking chapter. This chapter is so short too. It's like it's not even 1,000 words. And I've written 538 words, and I'm just procrastinating finishing this. I don't want to be done. I want to stay in happy, fun romance land with these two babies. I don't want to be done. But I want to be done because I want to pick back up I Romance Book 3. But you know, it's, the procrastination. Okay. I just need to finish it. Fine. Okay, you're gonna look at me until I finish this, okay? So that I don't continue staying on my phone. And just like that, it's done! Oh my god. Ooh, it's done. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Now I want to go back through and do like a fast read of every chapter. I need to name 3 of the chapters because those I did not name. And I just want to make sure that it like, there's no weirdness. If there's any weirdness and repeated copy pasting or something, I don't know. But it's done. First draft of Merry and Bright is done at 17,302 words as of June 24th. I read a fucking novella. I did it. I planned it perfectly. I aimed for word count and I aimed perfectly in the middle of the range of 15,000 to 20,000 words. It is queer. It is wonderful. It is soft and sweet and a little spicy. I think I also hit the tone of like the Christmas vibes perfectly. What a good time. What a good time. I don't even know what to do from here on. Like, this vlog is officially only 2 days in a row, 2 days long, because it's done now. I wrote 617 words today, roughly. Oh no, I'm in the wrong chapter. 749 words today. There we go. Done. It's done. And then I'm gonna kind of set it up in a document for my friends and throw it all out for them. So maybe I will end this vlog when I do that specifically, because I don't think I'm gonna do that tonight. I did it. It's done. What a good time. I just had to force myself to sit down. It took like 5 minutes to finish this chapter. I just really didn't want it to end, but now it is done. So yay! Hello friends! It is officially June 27th. I'm wrapping up this vlog here. It's quite a bit shorter than my usual vlogs, so I figured I'd have this little chatty section at the end because I not only, after finishing this novella on Monday night, I ended up on Tuesday spending a little bit of time just messing around with Atticus, which is my formatting software that I use for my books, and formatting it into an EPUB, which is a really good thing that I did because my two friends who ended up taking copies of this to read, Ali and Sophia, they wanted EPUBs. So I gave them the options of Google Docs or EPUBs or Word because I can do anything they like. And I sent it off, which is amazing because I've already gotten feedback back. Like literally the next day, Ali had gotten me feedback back for this. Ali, you're a superstar. I love you so deeply. I think it was when I first started thinking of this lovely novella, I ended up thinking of different beta questions that I could ask. I was like halfway through when I started thinking of these beta questions. And as an author who's finding beta readers, depending on what stage you're at, you want to ask them, you want to kind of set your beta readers up with as much as they need, because sometimes, like especially with getting beta readers who are readers, not writers, sometimes they don't know exactly how to answer things or what feedback is good. Sometimes they'll just be like, well, I didn't like this character or this is this. But my friends are wonderful and fantastic, especially Sophia. Hopefully she gets back to me at some point. Specifically, I say because she's like me. We both have lots of experience in our English degrees, studying literature and stuff like that. So, did she get an English degree? I always second guess myself because one of my friends doesn't have an English degree, but she got a librarian master's. So, but that's Hannah. Anyways, I apologize, Sophia, if I'm wrong, but but we both have really good experience with, all my friends do, have great experience with analyzing books and stuff like that. So we know we can't just say, well, I didn't like this. We always come with like backup for it, which is what you want. But I know going into it with having many different beta readers over the years, I always have wanted to as an author, there are always specific things that I really want to know coming out of a project. Big picture stuff as well, like does the story make sense, first of all? Second of all, are there any moments that were boring or dropped or whatever, right? Any moments that just didn't quite work? Any moments that felt out of place? That kind of a thing. Like when I have set up questions for my beta readers for my 2 cozies, I did ask them also specifically, like, were there any moments where you felt, first, like, what was the moment that you, like, sunk in to the story for the first time, or was there anything that pulled you out of the story, or any moments that just felt like they really dragged? Because even though they're cozy fantasy, I want to make them still engaging books, right? So the beta questions that I came up with for Merry and Bright, which is the title of this romance novella, I think I dropped that earlier without actually saying that is the title of this romance novella, at least right now, unless it gets changed. But if I end up publishing this, it will be called Merry and Bright. Does it make sense as a story? Which hopefully it does, because if it didn't, I would have to go back and check my entire life about story structure and my love of story structure and like putting together a story. And then I said, did you have any moments in the plot or choices of the characters where you were like, what the fuck, why? Which is very important because I want to make sure the characters are doing things that make sense for them, or like if there was any moment in the plot that just felt weird or arbitrary, or like my fingers were in the pot, I want to take that out because I don't want my fingers in there. I don't want them in there because I hate personally when I read a book and I can feel when the author is like poked their finger through and is like, look at this. Hate it so much. Unless it's like Jane Austen, then I'm okay with it because JD does that for a reason. How's the chemistry between the characters? I want to know that because it's a romance, obviously. If there's no chemistry, what the fuck am I doing? And I also wrote specifically because Margot and Jack are friends beforehand. This is not them like first meeting or anything. I wanted to also say how believable is it that they were friends for quite a long time before and had these like feelings beforehand as well. And then I asked, do the characters feel solid or are there any wishy-washy moments specifically on character there? How Christmassy did you find it? Because that was a goal of mine going into this. As I said earlier, and I think this vlog or the previous vlog, that I wanted this romance novella to be so Christmassy because I myself have read a number of Christmas romances in my life. I even did a couple years ago, like just a vlog of Christmas romances at one point. And I have read enough of them to know that not enough of them have the Christmasness to them. I want to fall into these books and feel like I'm falling into a Hallmark movie. Okay? I want to feel like Christmas is vomited on everything. But I don't want it to be like forced. I just want it to be vibes. I want the vibes to be there. I want the atmosphere to be cozy. I want that to really just hit, you know? So that is also very important to me because that is a goal I set out for myself and this story. Were there any moments you found arbitrary or boring? Hopefully not, because this is a novella. It is 17,000 words. If there were any boring moments, they are going to be cut out immediately. And then I also ask, of course, because I want to know any moments you really loved, anything you wanted more of as well, like if you kind of felt like there wasn't enough of something, anything that was lacking that you expected from the story going in, knowing that it's a queer holiday novella or romance novella. That one is probably going to be more directed at my friend Sophia because she's a heavy romance reader. So, and I don't know if she's read a lot of like specifically like queer holiday romance, but knowing that it is a romance book, is there anything that you expect that you didn't get coming out of my book? That is kind of what I wanted to know. Those were kind of the questions. But I think as an indie author, or as an author in general, or anyone who wants any thoughts on your work, setting up the people who you have reached out to get help from and give you feedback, setting them up with these questions of things that you want to know is so good. And even if they are as general as did it make sense? Because listen, sometimes people just need to be asked a question for them to spin off into the abyss of their minds, right? Anyways, I wanted to also show you not how, but like what I've done in Atticus with this book. So here we go. We got the book set up. I like that a second story takes forever to load into Atticus, but Atticus is my favorite thing. It's this little app right here, Atticus. We love it. You can use it as an app or you can go into the web page and do it on the web page, which is really nice because then you can access it from anywhere. So what I have is we have all of the 9 chapters, which is wonderful. And first and foremost, I started messing around with themes. I like checked out for like the actual format of the book. I checked out all what they have in here from Atticus and also what I've used previously for A Little Luck and a Second Story. And then I decided to just create a new theme, and I came up with the theme that I have here, which is probably something that I will tweak as we get if I publish it myself. If I don't publish it myself, this has nothing to do with me. But if I do publish it myself, I am, don't you worry, going to do little like doodles on the chapter headers so that this chapter doesn't sit so far up. It'll probably sit a little further down with little images like I have for A Second Story and A Little Luck. But this is what I got. Audiobooks and rosy cheeks. And I kind of laid it out so that I will also, if I do publish this, these little dingbats will turn into holly or mistletoe or something Christmassy as well. No, it'll probably be a string of Christmas lights. That makes more sense. But yeah, I just decided to kind of chuck it into a formatting thing to see, one, how many pages it would be if I formatted it at a specific font. So when you go into Atticus and you actually start messing with like the individual things of like how you want everything to show up, I did all of that, messed around with it, you know, sizing, font, all that good stuff. It's my favorite thing. I love fonts so much. And like how you want your paragraphs to show up, if you have any subheadings and your scene breaks and stuff like that. So this image will probably turn into a string of Christmas lights if I print this myself. Print layout, that really doesn't change. And then I picked a font, Crimson Pro, which is different from A Little Luck and a Second Story. A Little Luck and a Second Story has E.B. Garamond on the inside, but Crimson Pro just felt right, you know? It just hit for a romance book. It just felt a little better than the Garamond. And then I put it at a 12-point font because why not? More pages that way, which makes it 78 pages, which is slightly larger than I anticipated. I think I said earlier in last vlog that it was at 12-point font, it would be about 50 pages, but I lied because my formatting program has called me a liar. But if I do it at 11-point font, let's see what it does. 68 pages. So 11-point font is the same size font that I did for Second Story and A Little Luck. So we shall see what I do, but I'm gonna leave it at 12-point font for now, just to see, because I like the idea of having a slightly thicker novella, just for my own brain. But yeah, then I went in and kind of I just did like a dump of all of the chapters, and I named them all, and I went through and made sure all the italics were there and all that kind of stuff. And all that loveliness. So did I need to do that now? Absolutely not. I did not need to do that at the moment because I'm going to be editing the hell out of this. So it's going to change. But it was fun to do. I gotta say, it's really fun to just kind of mess around with that kind of stuff. I love it so much. I guess I did need to because I ended up needing to send both of those EPUBs to Sophia and Allie, which... yay. That, my friends, is the journey that we've been on. As I said, I already have feedback back from Allie, which is absolutely stunning and amazing. I've read through it and her comments make so much sense. And she was very, very helpful with her comments as well. Like the criticism was, not even criticism, but the constructive feedback. That's the word. The constructive feedback was fantastic and I really am happy with it. Where did it go? Having that list, she ended up just jot-noting thoughts back to me. So, iconic. We'd love to see it. My favorite comment, when I said, how Christmassy did you find it? She said, 8 out of 9 reindeer, which made my heart very happy. So I think I'm very pleased with how these things are going. And I'm excited to kind of get into the editing process in like a week or a bit because I am actually starting back in on Airmail Book 3, and that is gonna be my priority for the summer, to wrap that into draft 2 and 3. I have a goal of finishing draft 2 by the end of July, so I would really like to have that done and dusted so that maybe August is editing month, so I can find, maybe not necessarily an editor, but a sensitivity reader, because that would be my goal with that one, because I did not get the writing grant that I wanted to get. I didn't get either of the writing grants that I applied for at the beginning of the year, and that was what was tying my brain up with not being able to really work on that project past when I finished the first draft of it, because I was waiting to hear from those writing grants, and I was like, once I hear, I'll be able to work on it again. But I can't work on it until I hear, you know? Brains do fun things. But it's been great because it's allowed me to do a little bit of creative stuff on Sage's story, the first book, and this surprise novella that I worked on. So I'm excited to see how I work in tandem with editing this less than 20,000 word novella which is contemporary and it's a romance, and also working on A Romance Book 3, which is more intricate fantasy led. Yes, it has a romance plotline, but it's not like it's not the only thing going on in the story. It's going to be another interesting adventure to kind of see how the editing process works with that, and to see if I can actually work on two things at once, because I know I've said over the past couple years to myself and probably in videos that I was gonna try to work on two things at once, and without fail, one project would always get put on the back burner. And so I've kind of come to the conclusion that I am not the kind of person who can work on two projects at once, but at this moment in time, I kind of need to, because the due date for this contest for Kobo is August 15th. So that one is not the priority, but one that I definitely need to keep working on and getting polished up and whatever. Because in my mind, my priority is A Romance Book 3, because that is my bread and butter, right? The A Romance Books series is my bread and butter. So it's kind of an interesting thing, because in my brain, they're kind of equal priority, even though A Romance Book 3 should be my priority, even though this also should be my priority in other ways, because the deadline's closer, because I can make my own deadline with A Romance Book 3. I haven't even actually picked a month for A Romance Book 3 to come out in yet. I've just said 2025, early 2025. My brain wants to say May again, but that's a second story's birth month. Do I do April? Is that enough time for me to do? I don't know. So we're gonna have to see how the rest of this summer goes with that one. But anyways, that's besides the point. I have been rambling now for a little bit. But yes, my friends, we did it. We fucking did it. It is officially the end of June, and I wrote the first draft of a novella in, like, if I put all the time together, like 10 days cumulatively. But it took me 3 weeks to do, because I took off a week in the middle and that kind of a thing. Just the first draft, of course. And if I really dedicated myself to it and like actually did it like a NaNoWriMo style, I would have had this done in like maybe 7-8 days, because 20,000 words is not a lot of words for me to write. It just isn't. I find that as a writer, I can hash out 2,000 words a day easy, but is that healthy for myself? No. I've also learned that. I've learned that breaks are good, and I've also learned the way that I can lock myself in. I just need to get my good old headphones. I need to pop them on, just take away any other distractions and just write. And that usually gets me into it. And usually locking myself into one song on repeat will do it. Will really help. But anyways, my beautiful friends, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below your favorite Christmas song, because I would love to know. And I'm gonna add it to the playlist as I go back and start editing this. Some of my favorite Christmas songs, I've always loved the Eurythmics version of Winter Wonderland, and White Christmas is always so beautiful. I love that song so much. So those are two of mine. And you can never go wrong with the regular Christmas song, like the Christmas song, you know? That one's also beautiful. I don't know whose version I like more though. I quite like every version I hear. But yeah, I'd love to know. I know it's summer and that's such a weird question to ask, but I would love to know. Anyways, friends, I'll catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on writing.